Welcome, people, to Trailer Teardowns. I am your co host, Evan Bass-Seisel, with special guest Adam Suellentrop. And Angel, not here for this episode. We had a slight scheduling conflict. So you're getting the duo of Evan and Adam for this episode. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. No, thank you guys for having me. And sorry, Angel, that you're not here. I was looking forward to connecting with you since I've had to deal with Evan for a big chunk of my life and was looking forward to somebody else. But oh well.
Okay, so before we jump into what you said earlier about your love of comics, I warned you of this question ahead of time, and I'm going to ask it on air. Do you remember the last movie or trailer that we like watched together, and it was on your TV? Is my hint.
I literally don't. I do not remember. I mean, I've watched so many things on my TVs and many things with you, both in yours and mine. So all I can like imagine would that it would be something like the trailer for the next Game of Thrones, or I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know.
it's so much weirder.
It's
Ready?
weirder. What was it?
Return to Oz. Remember?
Well, that's
Remember?
one of my favorites. Like,
And
wait, did
we
we
and we
actually
brought
watch
up
the movie or did we just watch the
we I
trailer?
think we started watching some of it, but we pulled up the scene where she puts the magical dust on the bed with the moose head
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then
yeah, I mean,
flies out. And I don't know why we were doing that, but we were in some discussion and we're like, oh yeah, Return to Oz. And we like put it on.
highly underrated. Actually, very, very apropos to culture right now too, with Wicked being of the moment.
Mm,
Like, I think that movie will have a resurgence because Wicked is reimagining and the not all the darker sides, but some of the
hmm
darker
hmm
sides
hmm
of that story. Would If you actually go back to, oh my God, we're going to L. Frank Baum right now. He was really commenting on what he was seeing happening in the world at the moment.
mm.
Beautiful American allegory that we brush over and don't give enough credit to just the story that he made. But and I've been actually in, we're both theater people too. I've been in that show many, many times. But Return to Oz was dark and
Oh,
dirty,
very dark, very dark.
real, and trippy and all of those things. And I actually I
One of
think
the evil characters can
that well,
switch her head.
yeah, no, Mumby has a whole, like, hall of, like, she the dancing ladies, and she decided which head she wanted to wear each day. It was like an outfit, and she would decide which face, which I think this is a whole other podcast. What are you talking about? Return to
This
Oz
is
is a podcast that we should have,
no.
but I love that that was the last thing because I'm gonna pause it because that is literally worth a whole podcast. That movie is brilliant. Fairuza Balk from
hmm
from
hmm
The Craft. If those of you don't know, I mean, she is brilliant.
Waterboy also.
Waterboy, The Worst Witch, all like she's brilliant, 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 brilliant. There's so much to, to digest there.
All right, all right. I went on our tangent, but
You
yeah,
did.
if you haven't seen that
Yes,
movie,
that's
it
your
is a
chance.
great
We're in
movie.
Oz, and we haven't even talked about the Fantastic Four.
All right. Well, okay. So I'm just going to jump in. I know you're a big comic guy. So jump into sort of the theme of our podcast, which is like trailers and what gets people from watching a trailer to watching the movie. So for you, like what does it for you? Is there any, yeah, I'm going to leave it open ended like that.
What does it for me?
And just when you watch a trailer, like what will convince you to check it out?
Well, I think before the trailer, there's just the idea, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that alone has appeal, right? Like the name of a movie, what it's about, like and so I have to say that I am already just because of my experience, I am susceptible to almost anything that is going to be from what I'll call the culture of comics, Dungeons and Dragons, sci-fi, any of that stuff. I'm just very susceptible to it. So it almost doesn't matter. My I'm I'm peaked.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Your spidey senses tingle for
my
a comic
spidey
book.
senses are tingling. That's a very great way to say it. Then I can also almost immediately taste whether it's good or bad. Like you can almost
hmm
like you just almost taste it in your mouth. Almost the first few seconds of something, you could.
hmm
But as far as the trailer itself, I don't want you to tell me the whole story. Like, that's
Mhm.
one thing.
Mhm.
I don't want that. Like, that if you're telling me the whole story, that means you're trying really hard. You're trying really hard. But I would say most of these genre kind of films don't have to do that. They
Mhm.
wanna give you, like, but I will also say, don't also blow your load. Don't
Mhm.
show me the biggest thing, but tantalize me. But I will say the biggest things that get me excited are when they are true to what I know that IP to be. Like, that's
Okay.
so I think that's where I instantly connect, like, oh wait, they're and this is more of a modern thing because for 20 years, I was just excited that there was any genre film being made. I was excited. Look,
Mhm.
look, I've met Bryan Singer. I don't love the X-Men movies, but I'm a huge X-Men fan.
Mhm.
But just that they were making it made me
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, yeah.
So I will say that I think it's I with a trailer, to me, showing anything that gives me a sense that you actually appreciate and you're part of the
A part of that world, a part of that culture.
world.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
yeah.
not that you want to just make money from that world,
Mhm.
you want to manifest what people imagined when they were
Mhm. Mhm.
experiencing part
Yeah.
that world. And the challenge is, especially with comics, there's so much content. There's so
Yeah.
many years. There's so many different eras and versions. And everybody kind of has their own version. So it's not just like there's one thing.
Mhm.
That's not an easy task. But if you think, oh, I'm going to make our own new version of it, that's gross to me. So if I see that, then I kind of turn off to it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But if it feels authentic to at least one part of the story,
Mhm.
then I get excited, for sure.
So pivoting that into what we're discussing today, and today we are discussing the trailer for the Fantastic Four: First Steps.
First
So
step.
this is directed by Matt Shakman, who primarily is a TV director, Game of Thrones, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, House, all the episodes of WandaVision, which I think will play into some of our discussion later, and a feature, Cut Bank from 2014, about a small town crime sort of thriller, or is a small town crime thriller. And then this movie stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ibn Moss Backrack. Its release date is July 25th. Fantastic Four has had a sort of a conundrum in its iterations. There has been the Fantastic Four from 1994, which was never released. Then there was the Fantastic Four that was 2005, and then Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer 2007, which was the same cast. And then Fantastic Four 2015 was the last one, which also very clearly was trying to start the franchise up again. And and the conundrum is they all kind of fizzle out for some reason.
Yeah.
Something's not working. And we know team movies have done well in the past, right? You've got Avengers. You've got um Avengers. And I think there's also Avengers because Justice League definitely didn't
Oh,
work in the iteration.
look, if you're gonna,
Suicide Squad, you got some, like, you have some.
hey, you're not listing like the most one that like copied the Fantastic Four, which is The Incredibles.
Oh yes, oh yes, no. Okay,
Incredibles
so we have,
is like
yes.
a very successful movie that co-opted the Fantastic.
And that one, I gotta say, is one of my
It's a brilliant
favorites.
movie. It's a brilliant movie because they nailed the parts that were important to that fit,
Mm,
that part of that slice of, superheroism.
yeah. So
Family.
what? What has? Did you say family? Which is ironic.
I'm jumping a little because I do want to say, of all the things you just said, of all the Fantastic Fours, the only ones that I have any weirdly any like connection that I think is actually really valuable is the 1994 one. And I know that's
Hmm.
weird, but I've seen all these movies. I've seen all these movies, but the 94 one that no one I've actually not seen the whole thing, but I have seen clips of it and
It's online. The whole thing is online. I
okay.
just.
And maybe now I will do that. But before there was online and YouTube and
Hmm.
all this,
Hmm.
when I moved to New York City in 1999, one of the first things I do remember was going to Midtown Comics
Mm-hmm.
on 40, is it 47?
39th or 40th. Yeah.
No, the 40, like 40, no, 40, I think,
You're
yeah,
talking about the
40.
one upstairs, right?
Yeah, the one
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
upstairs, I have a print in my office right now of like when you walk up those stairs, there's this giant print of all the Marvel universe of all the 70s versions of the characters. Huge. And I wanted it so bad. And my husband actually found a print of it, and I have a small print of it. So it's actually brilliant. So I have
Amazing.
looking at it right now. But also when I went there in 1999, one of the coolest things that I found, they had like this is back when you had bootleg videos.
VHS. No,
Like
that was the thing. That was how this was passed around, was
bootleg, yeah,
bootleg in
because
Comic
it's the
Cons.
bootleg thing. Because essentially, and hopefully maybe everyone knows they don't. They made this movie, but it was really just about the rights. They
Yep.
never actually intended to release this first movie.
Well, if it, as I understand, because I did see a podcast sort of about this, that they made it because if they didn't have something to release by a certain date,
Exactly.
they
They
would
had to
have lost
retain
it.
the rights.
Yeah.
They had to retain the rights. So they had to spend some money to make this movie to show that so that they could hold on to the rights for maybe in the future to be able to make a movie that would make it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of horrible that's happening. Look, Netflix and all this stuff is happening. You hear about these movies that are being made, and then people are just taking them as tax write-offs, and they're
Mm-hmm.
never getting released. Like good movies, like wait, what was it, Batwoman or Batgirl? That got
Yeah,
made,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then we're never going to get to see it because it was a tax write-off. So if they ever release it, they can't take the tax write-off. Like this is what the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing is what happened with this movie, but it also means that they kind of like full of half-assed it. But there was enough, at least, information in the world that I remember just going, "Oh wait, is there actually just like a superhero movie that's going to get made?" I remember
And you had that secret
comics and
underground feel
comics.
to it too, I think,
Yeah, no
where it
kidding. Like
was like, oh, you could maybe get a bootleg VHS of this or a piece of
so
it. Yeah.
yeah, so they had like bootleg versions of it or
Hmm.
parts of it. I don't think it was a full thing because I bought this bootleg DVD that I don't it was not a full movie. Whatever I
Hmm.
got, whatever at least I got from Midtown Comics was not a full movie. So I can't say that I've seen this movie, but I've seen bits of it,
Hmm.
parts of it.
Hmm.
But it was weird. It was weird, but at least they were like trying and it felt exciting. I remember at the time, like this is like 25 years ago. It felt exciting that people were trying to make some comic book movies. And but I gotta say, the Fantastic Four was just an odd choice to like be the first thing. And I will say that's where we're at still. Like they are inherently an odd choice, but that's the cool opportunity. So it's why I'm actually really excited about this movie because look, Amazing Spider-Man number one.
Hmm.
Okay, let's be clear. I'm not a Fantastic Four super fan, guys. Are we clear on that?
As Adam looks around.
I am a Spider-Man fan through and through.
Hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man number one. Fantastic Four are who he encounters. Like that is it is fun to they actually are very, very connected.
And I think the interesting thing is you have like the comedy of Spider-Man, and I feel like every Fantastic Four that has been done so far hasn't done the like, the thing that was great about the X-Men, at least to me, was Wolverine's just dry sarcasm and like, lip that he was giving to everybody. They're just like playing off of things. Thor had its run and it was a bit rough at times until you had like Taiki Waititi come in
Yeah,
and add the humor,
and the humor.
you
No,
know?
I mean the right is well, this is also the thing. The right amount of humor and the right amount of seriousness. Like
Yes,
you have to
yes.
have like the balance, and each different movie can take a different slant on it. But yeah, looking at these things out here, the 94 one, look, it was a shit show. Like we all know. You can see you can see the ridiculous pictures of whatever they did, the waste money, but it was basically a tax write-off. That's what they were doing.
Hmm.
2005, 2007. I mean, good for them for getting a sequel out of it. I did not
I agree with you. I agree with that assessment of those movies.
I didn't love them, but they at least were like that was like the classic at the time formula for how to do
Hmm. Hmm.
a superhero movie. And they tried.
But then they followed it up with Fantastic Four in 2015, which was like to me the biggest fault of that one was it was clearly like we're setting up to do future movies instead of like this is a standalone movie.
Yeah.
and it was also just another origin story of Fantastic Four.
Well, I mean that's a brilliant. I think that's one of the coolest things about this era in Marvel is that, or actually maybe just in superheroes in general, like enough of them are enough part of the culture that we don't have to do this their origins anymore. Like even if
Yeah.
there has, whether it's been whether there has been a movie made or not, just jump in and tell a good story. Everyone's
Hmm.
finally on board with. We don't have to explain the idea of a superhero and how it happens. Like we can jump in media res and figure it out.
Well, and that's actually a great transition to one thing that I think is really interesting about this trailer is very similar to the Superman coming out this year. It seems to, at least from this teaser trailer, jump in and they're already there, right? It opens with like, here's where we eat dinner together. Like this is the Fantastic Four headquarters.
Yeah, and I have thoughts about that too. Like, well, why are they doing that? Like,
To me,
I love
it came off as like it's like a press. They're doing a press
yes.
like run for the Fantastic Four.
Well, yeah, no, totally, totally. I mean, that's exactly what's clearly that's happening. But they're clearly on a press tour for a reason. So I, I,
Mm.
I love. First of all, I'm here for this trailer. I just want to say that. I'm actually here for it. I don't want to. We don't want to. I'm not going to poo poo. I am like hoping because I
Hmm.
am like, wow, you're going to win me over to be because I've never been a Fantastic Four fan. I'm like I said, I think they're going to win me over if they nail some of these things. And one of those things is they start off. It's actually in like what is it like? Is it like 2-3? It's like tiny. It's like a tight shot
Hmm.
too.
Hmm.
It's like condensed shot. It's clearly very stylized. We're like, okay, we're in the 60s and it maybe
Four
evokes
three, 4-3.
4-3. Sorry, 4-3. I said 2-3, but it's not
Standard TV, old
four
TV
three four
standards.
three before we extend to something wider.
And it has that look too, right? It has that like
Yeah,
slightly
it evokes
faded.
a little bit of the TVA that they've introduced with Loki on that show, which I also really appreciated because I do think that like time date stylization helps us as humans like disconnect a little bit from all the just normal expectations that we have, and I think that's one of the
Hmm.
biggest things that we need, like part of movies and especially comics, especially this like is like just try to like let go of all the assumptions that you have about how the world works. So I actually think that helped a lot for me. Like, okay, yeah, this is a different world, but yeah, it actually seemed like they were trying to win somebody over in a different way. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know why they were doing that. Whether they have defending themselves or whether like, if that's possible. We know we've seen some of that already, but like I think like are you defending yourself? I don't it might be too early to drop this, Evan, but I even think the way she's walking in that, like she looks pregnant. And I
Oh,
this might be a little too early,
interesting.
but like this is where I'll come in
No,
where
I like this. I like this. What do you got? What do you got? So you
I'm
think
already
you
well, hold
think?
on. I'm already like I told you, I'm an X-Men fan, I'm a Spider-Man fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting. Where's Franklin, Richard?
Oh, I'm literally just rewatching. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I
You know,
think you
does you know who
the
Franklin?
way she's walking.
Do you know who Franklin Richards is?
I actually don't. I don't. Give me educate us.
Franklin Richards is their son. There's actually a couple
Mhm.
of kids that happen in different versions of Fantastic Four, but Franklin is one of the most powerful reality bending mutants in the world.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I have this sinking feeling that this movie is they've already made some Marvel's already made some steps towards how are we going to introduce X-Men because again, I think that's the big arc, but I think he's a key part of it because it's called First Steps.
Ooh, I was thinking like, okay, okay.
I think it's a baby.
I love that twist. Did not think of that at all,
I think there's going to
and
be
I
a
love
baby.
the
I
twist.
think there's going to be a baby and that they're trying to defend because we were jumping into it, right? They're already superheroes,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're trying to defend why they have a safe home for a baby that's coming.
Interesting. Oh yeah, yeah. Family dinners and the
Because
thing is cooking.
we haven't even addressed this. Let's be clear. The Fantastic Four are the first family of superheroes. Like that's like
Yeah,
their
yeah.
oh they own that. They are family is the idea of this whole thing, which again I think is what has been missing from those other movies. Like
Which is really interesting because so we get near the end, we get the introduction of Galactus, right? the big head coming in at the end of the teaser.
Celestials have been a big thing in this arc of the MCU.
Celestials technically is Eternals, and Galactus
No, no,
is
no.
technically of the
Eternals, the
cosmos.
Celestials are the big guys. The Eternals are the smaller guys.
Yes, Galactus is similar to the Celestials
He is a
from.
Celestial.
He
Celestial.
is not technically a Celestial.
In which version of reality? Because maybe we need to talk about. Because I'm
They
pretty
they they
sure this.
he is born of the cosmos just as the Celestials are born of the cosmos, but the Celestials are created differently than how Galactus was created. Because Nerd Me was
You've clearly
reading
done
up
some
on this
research, so I'm going
right
to trust you on
before,
this.
but they're very much like Celestials in that they eat planets that are
They're the same
have.
size, change sizes a little bit too. Well,
And so
clearly,
it'll be in.
clearly there's a big celestial in the. I haven't seen it yet, but in the new Captain America movie too, he's clearly still.
I haven't seen that yet. Oh, another one. I will be watching that soon. Well, and I think it's really interesting because so it's got this introduction of Galactus, but I'd say like sometimes in teasers, the thing that you don't see are the thing that's kind of interesting in your head. Like, so we see Galactus's head. Now, the thing with Galactus is he always has a herald, the Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
Like Silver Surfer comes. We don't see the Silver Surfer in this trailer. We
no,
also don't see Doctor Doom, even though we all know Robert Downey Jr. is getting like $80+ million
yeah.
for, I believe, this movie plus Avengers Doomsday, which means he's going to make an appearance.
I imagine Doom is at the very end. If he's in this, I think he's the post credits thing. I don't think
Hmm.
the thing because they've done Doom already
So
before.
many times, so many
There
times.
are also there's like I have a feeling that they're gonna be like I think like it's gonna be like a first act where there's like a bunch of B level villains.
Hmm.
Like 'cause clearly we know like Mole Man has clearly been alluded to in this one, which is kind of weird. Which I don't even know much about Mole Man, but you kind of like that.
He comes in at the end of Incredibles. Well, man.
Oh, sure, sure. Well, there's a version of that. And whoever, I remember we're pulling all the strings, but whoever John Malkovich is, which I am not enough of a Fantastic Four expert to tell you who that is, but I can tell you I know the type of that kind of villain, and I just don't think he's going to be the big bad.
Well, so here's the thing with Fantastic Four. So you have Galactus. Galactus is associated with Silver Surfer, who is his herald who goes and finds the planets for him to eat. In Fantastic Four number 48 to 50, so 48, 49, and 50, that is the first appearance of Galactus in the Fantastic Four comic books. And what precedes Galactus's arrival is a character known as the Watcher or Uatu, who kind of is is like an observer in
He's
time.
not supposed
and
to. He's
and
not supposed
yeah,
to mess with stuff.
yeah, and he's not supposed to mess with stuff, but in Fantastic Four 48, he does, because he doesn't want Galactus to eat Earth, does intercede. And so my thought is potentially Malkovich's character could be the Watcher. It
No,
doesn't look
I no.
exactly the same. It looks very different. So
Well, no,
it would
you've
be
already got
away from
was it
it.
Jeffrey Rush is already the Watcher in What If on Disney Plus. Have you not seen that?
I've not seen What Ifs.
Okay, so Disney Plus
Yep.
has 3 seasons of What If, which is a brilliant cartoon animated thing that just imagines like it was honestly
There are What If comic books. I mean,
yeah,
I like, yeah.
brilliant comic books that I loved. Like I love like what if Spider-Man didn't get married? What if he did this? Blah blah. Some of my favorite comics. They've taken it a little bit on a spin in the cartoon, but it's actually pretty compelling. They've even made new characters over there. They're
Hmm.
like rolling with what if. So Jeffrey Wright, sorry, I
Right.
said Rush.
Oh, Jeffrey Wright. Oh, Jeffrey Wright. Okay.
Jeffrey Wright. Sorry, I said Jeffrey Rush. Jeffrey Wright is Uatu. So they actually got
Hmm.
yeah, so and they have already made him interactive. He's already messing with shit.
Okay. So you don't think like at 119 is, I believe, where
No, he's not. I promise
John
you.
Malkovich comes in.
I promise you. If he's anybody, it's not Uatu.
Interesting.
They'll keep Jeffrey as Uatu, and that's more
Just in honoring it.
mystical, cosmic than that. I think
Well,
this guy is something else.
because the interesting thing about for me at least, about that Fantastic Four 48 through 50 is the theme that, like, I don't want to say saves the day, but the theme that comes up repeatedly in fighting Galactus. I don't want to say emotionally, but like, not physically, but in sort of the mind game style of it, is the concept of family. And the fact that the Fantastic Four are a family is a unique thing that is like a secret weapon in some sense because of the ability to
Which
connect with that.
which is okay, then I'll go with you here, which is why I think that
Hmm.
Galactus, if anything, why he's going after them now. Why now? Because I think we're gonna get a bunch of like B-level villains for a minute.
Well, and Galactus
And
doesn't necessarily go after the Fantastic Four in general. He
no,
just needs to
no, he
eat
needs
like,
energy. He needs energy,
yes, yeah.
right? Okay. Okay. So, which is why I come back to first steps.
Hmm.
I think this is actually about Franklin. I think this is actually I think Galactus is after Franklin. Franklin is in the comics one of the most powerful beings ever to exist. So
Okay.
he's coming after Franklin potentially and that energy, and they're having to defend and protect him, and in many ways, whether it's from
Mm.
public in their little interview thing where they're defending like we're this, and from Galactus and like he wants to eat him.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think Franklin has a sister too. I don't know much about Valeria. That that she's like super smart, more like Reed. But Franklin is like again alter reality. Like that's his power. He's very very strong, and as a baby, like he's like been like, he's always like had these powers. So I would not.
That's your gander. Okay.
I
Yeah, I like
think
it. I
I
like it.
think I do think those two things are connected. I think the reason why we have Galactus and also though we do know, even though we don't see it in the trailer, I'm gonna give it a little away. We do get Silver Surfer, and it's a she.
Mm.
We know the cast is what's her name from
Julia Garner.
yes,
Is that who it is?
yeah. So we
She's
know
great.
we know
From
that
Ozark. Yeah.
we know that the Silver Surfer is Julia Garner from Ozark, who's
Hmm.
incredible. So she's gonna have a moment, but maybe not tons of moments. We don't know, but she's not shown.
Yeah.
But that version of the Silver Surfer, also just I think to be clear is not the typical Silver
Hmm.
Surfer, but there has definitely been iterations of a female Silver Surfer, and I'm very very excited for that. But I think it comes in like our last the last like chapter. I think it comes to the end.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I think it'll.
I feel like we're gonna get a lot of like setup and what's happening and protecting this
Mhm.
potential. My thoughts are this potential baby that's coming, and then oh my god, the whole universe is coming for our baby, and then I think their world is gonna die. I think that's the idea is that we're gonna have to whatever the reality they exist in, because you can see it's again when the elevators open, there's things that look different. There's New York City does not look the
So
same.
are you saying sort of though it's a variation on Crisis of Infinite Earths?
I mean that's one way, but Marvel's already started their their version of that with multiple realities. I mean, I would actually love for them to stop tapping the
The
multiverse
multiverse, yeah.
thing.
But
Like
this, well, but I also think, so it's got this
I think
aesthetic.
this is a different iteration that's gonna die. That's gonna blow up,
Well,
and and somehow they'll be connected to
interesting.
the rest of it.
Well, because I also think though, Fantastic Four came out in 1961, right? And they're definitely setting this like period piece style. The director is, directed WandaVision episodes. It's got kind of a WandaVision feel. But I also
You got
think,
like you got the Life magazine of 19 from
mm,
1963. You can see like in the main
yeah.
artwork. I mean, I think the style of all the buildings is just is stunning. I think it's what is it? It was that like Sid Mead. It looks like Sid Mead design, which is brilliant, like space age 60s
Mhm.
design.
Well, because you also have Reed Richards who creates these things. You have the robot that appears in this teaser that's like definitely not 1961,
Oh,
1960s.
Kirby.
It's like future, but that's sort of the Fantastic Four world is it's old times, but with, you have the what is it, the Quinjet is the Fantastic Four, which
Yeah.
far advanced.
Yeah,
technologically.
when you, like, marry the 2 things where it's like, "Hey, past, but, like, we've got future technology and we're, like, b blending those things." That vibe we all love, like, the
Hmm.
idea of, like, can we be quaint and still and, like, have, like, uber
Cool
technology?
things. Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
that I think that's a dream of all of ours, that it's a magic place. I would also I would also say, though, that that era was a moment of a lot of freaking change, and
Hmm. Hmm.
and and I think they had this is actually an opportunity that Marvel's taking to how do you reset something without undoing something, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's a great technique to do that because we need it. Because clearly Marvel's had a couple of the past
Yes.
few years, right? Like we've just jumped the shark, and everybody knows that jump the shark came from Happy Days, right? Does
Yeah,
everyone
when he on his jet skis goes over and jumps the shark.
I just had to say that just to make sure everyone knows that, like, that is actually about a TV episode where Happy Days where he
Fonzie,
freaking
the Fonz jumps
Fonzie, like, jumped
the
over
shark.
a shark on skis, but that's where it comes from. But we clearly have jumped the shark in just trying to do the same thing too
Hmm.
much,
Hmm. Oh
and
yeah.
everyone doesn't believe it anymore. Whereas part of what worked so magically for 15 years or 10 years was that it was all in the pocket. But I think
Hmm.
this helps, like, it helps reset a little bit and without undoing.
Yeah, well, and one thing that I think plays into that in a really interesting way that's subtle is the costume design for this. So the 2005 and 2007 films used sort of a nod to the classic costume, which is a black color collar. The 2015 had like no costumes at all, but this one, their costumes are a nod to the John Byrne's era of Fantastic Four, which started in 1981. And so they're actually jumping forward in the comics when they're in the nod to the design. And that's when it switched from the black collar to a white collar and also kind of rounded. And yet they're doing a variation on it that looks very much of that time period that it's set in, which is also kind of cool because they're like, we're doing something different. We're jumping ahead. We're like changing it up, but we're it's also clearly a nod, but we're keeping it within that era, which is like I just love that feel. Like it looks like they're wearing knit wool almost, like.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, the costume design looks gorgeous. I think the set design looks
Hmm.
stunning. Again, to have this kind of dichotomy between, like, we're seeing Baxter building, that's the Fantastic Four's building,
Hmm.
whereas we are all familiar with the Avengers Tower. Like, it's almost like countering, like, these 2 different realities in these worlds and these moments and what you see from them. I I think they're painting a pretty world from what I see so far. So I'm excited that, like, yeah, this is a new world to play in that's still connected to this MCU that's been built. Yeah, I'm very excited by the time period aspect of this. I think that worked really, really well for WandaVision.
Hmm.
Um, I honestly think time period shifts have worked really well for pre-MCU stuff. Even the X-Men, like Days of Future Past, was one of my favorite X-Men.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles go back to ancient Japan.
Okay, maybe I mean
I
I
like that one actually. That one,
I
I
do love
mean, it's a little out there.
I do love that one, but no, I actually think that the shifting. I think they did it well. Also, with the TVA vibe of Loki worked really well. In just
Hmm.
how do we shift tone and still be we're still in the same world, but just show that we can be a totally different thing. So I think that's just a great technique at the base level, but it also looks pretty so far from what I've seen.
And I do also appreciate the nods to certain things that at least I feel like certain comics they have core elements that like are what people connect with. And I think the Fantastic Four, especially, Ben, the Thing, having issues. Not I don't want to call them vanity issues, but the fact that his
Yeah.
he is like rock, that he just has a problem with that he's the only one who like in his eyes doesn't looks horrible or something. And they had a nod to that at I think it's like 51 seconds in. He looks, he's looking at a TV of himself before, and then it's the reflection in the glass of that store, and you see his face. That's the thing that is the gold for these types of movies is the connection of people to those
And if you
characters.
get down to the trailer part, which I guess is our job today,
Yes, yes.
is they did that very concisely. Like you can like see in the trailer who each of these 4 characters are.
Hmm.
Like Sue is reiterating family, like
Hmm.
that's the most important to her. Reed is about science and advancement, like how can I help solve
This
something?
giant chalkboard.
Yeah, also that chalkboard. Did you notice that it's like curved? It's
It's
actually like
curved and it's like layered. It's
no, no,
great.
it's
Yeah.
curved, which means like he because he's long and he can like stretch, even though
Hmm.
we don't get to see his powers, we'll talk about in a second. He can see it no matter where he is. Like it's actually pretty. That's a pretty cool little hint.
It's very like smartly thought of how it would be designed if they were actually them.
Exactly. I think that's part of it. They really did that well. Look, Johnny's a hothead, so it's like
Yeah.
so it's pretty obvious like he's like the hothead teenager, and they show that pretty graciously, but because they don't make him feel like a bad guy at all, but it's still hothead.
And I do love that moment where it's almost, I don't want to say it's a nod to the Iron Man where he goes, extremely high and the suit
No,
gets
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah.
cold and
They're
stuff,
very
but it's he goes up and
balls.
the low atmosphere, and so he just runs out of oxygen to burn, is like like a metaphor for Johnny in and of himself.
Yeah. And again, I will reiterate, Johnny and Spider-Man, are best friends. Spider-Man may live in this world. I'm just saying. I'm
You can
just
hope. You can hope. I mean, they've got the Spider Verse.
No, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, and
I would not I would actually that would be the thing, like, if they can squeeze in a Spider-Man reference, I think that would be smart of them in the movie, but
I think that is sort of, I think the hope for this new iteration of the
Spider-Man and X-Men,
Marvel.
like
Yeah,
like I said from the beginning, this eh, I think this is the most
not biased because of the comics that you
I am
prefer.
most but I am most this is the most excited I've been for a Fantastic Four movie
Mm,
ever
mm.
because they are doing it style in a very stylized way with a very specific point of view. But also, I think they are actually legitimately the best mechanism to connect these worlds.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like they have very authentic, good stories and history to connect to X-Men, and Franklin is again one of the most powerful mutants in the world.
I look forward to this
Spider-Man,
movie not having any Franklin in it whatsoever. No, I'm just kidding. I hope it is. And rewatching the opening, she does look like she's a little slightly pregnant. I like, it's very subtle. It's a brilliant pickup.
no, I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
say,
yeah,
but
yeah.
watch how she walks. Watch how she walks a little bit. And I maybe reading it a little bit, but I probably just watched the trailer too many times. But it does look a little. But also, it's called First Steps.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
already giving it to us. I just think hiding it.
And then I think so. Other things that are interesting are, one, as you mentioned, we don't see Mr. Fantastic's stretching ability,
Yeah,
which is like,
that's kinda weird. I think my take on that is his power is one of the corniest. It just is. It just kinda is,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
so I think they don't want like, it's cool, it can there's some cool applications,
yes,
but I
yes.
actually think it looks the corniest in both and always has in comics, and
No, it is, and it also, like, there's only so much you can do. I mean, and there are a number of comic book characters who have the stretching ability. Mr. Fantastic is not the only one, and
Elastic
it
Man.
yeah, Elastic Man, yes,
And we're going to
um,
DC. But again, like
but
it's
yeah,
the Elastic Man is literally a joke. Like in it, yeah. So
yeah,
it's
but it's yeah. I mean, you have all these other ones that have so many more. Like, not that the
they
thing
want to
has that much
emphasize
power, but it's, yeah,
they want to emphasize
it's
his
intellect.
knowledge and his strength, and they don't need it. Honestly, they don't need it.
No,
But I will say the animations for the other characters. I will say I will start Ben. I love that giant forehead. I know it's weird.
okay, it's a different look than has been done before. Like, its face
Yeah,
is a
but
little bit more
it is classic.
together.
It is classic John Byrne. Like that is like how you just like that's how
Hmm.
he was originally drawn.
Hmm.
So I love that. I think that Johnny. Look, you've seen a lot of people like be on fire and in CGI, but there's actually like some cool like almost like mist behind him too. Like that was
Hmm. Hmm.
like not just the fire, but almost like water vapor behind him that I think is kind of cool.
It's like the trailing flames of sorts. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which I so I'm cool with that. And then with Invisible Woman, like who's probably power I in my head would be the throwaway. The way they did it, there's a little rainbowy thing where I started to think, "Oh, wait, whoa, whoa,
She
whoa,
because she has more than
bending
just to
light.
be
She's
invisible.
bending
Yeah,
light
yeah.
is what she's doing." So, actually, I think the way that they visualized that was kinda cool. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, she's bending the light around things.
It's definitely a step up from the like the I want to say like the generic CGI that we've gotten in the past. But this one's like it's nuanced. It's like the architecture that we see. It feels like there is thought put into every aspect of it, which is makes you kind of pulls you in. I feel
Yeah,
like that's what.
that's what I'm saying too. Yeah, is that, like, it doesn't matter exactly what it is, but there's thought and
Hmm,
it's a
hmm.
perspective, it's a point of view, then that feels unique and different, not just like sparkly, shiny motion rub, you know?
Well, and I think it's also interesting, other than the cinematography, the visual, the 4:3 that extends, that sort of pulls you into that world at the beginning, and the like period piece kind of overlay to the visual that you see, the sort of like it's a little bit grainier, grayer kind of feel to get into that era.
Yeah.
Um, the sound design and score is very minimal, which I think was interesting because it doesn't need that. I feel like certain trailers need, big score pieces, or we've talked about at in the show, like changeovers, like it starts in one music and it switches to a different to be sort of a twist. And this one, it almost like walks in and is like, we know what we're doing and we're gonna like let you sit in it and enjoy it rather than add something on top of it that much. I mean, there's subtle sound, score within it, but it's not the fast-paced action that we're used to in these superhero trailers where it's cut to action, cut to action, cut to action. It is that like family, as you said, almost is how the trailer itself was designed to bring you in and like give you a little bit of a hug.
I love that. I do hope that because I think the iconic music, especially for superheroes, is so powerful. So I hope they have something
Yeah.
that we haven't heard yet. Because I that's something that I've actually missed from Marvel in general that I got from
You get Superman theme, you get Batman's theme, like
like, yeah, like the Christopher Reeve Superman, like, that is lasted my whole life, like, my whole life, and I just rewatched the documentary about his life, and that music very much stays with you, so I do think it's a missing piece I do think
mhm.
it's a missing piece that Marvel has not tapped into as much as they could, but need to.
It's hard. That is, I mean, that like a theme
It is hard, it is
for
hard.
like
It
I
is hard,
mean,
and
but I,
that's
I agree. I agree. I
there's
agree.
something iconic that, like, everyone remembers forever. Sure, I
Hmm.
know it's hard, but it happened quite a bit. Look, we knew what the Star Wars was, we knew what Superman was, we knew what even Batman Returns was, like, for a minute. It's not maybe as strong.
But the first one though, I mean, you had Prince. I mean, but it's also the composers. I mean, Superman is John Williams. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, you need John Williams, you need Hans Zimmer, you need the big guys, right? I
yeah,
get it, but I do think they need it.
yeah. No, no. I mean, I think if they could have it, that would be amazing. I think, unfortunately, the modern era of superhero movies, they haven't leaned on those level of composers because they have just the action, the CGI is selling it more.
Yeah,
But I'd be curious because if they can come up with it, like that takes it to the next level.
totally.
So here's the sort of side question: do you think this is the movie that's going to get the MCU out of its little slump?
I do, actually. I'm gonna say yes. If I had to make a bet, both because I want it to be right
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
and because I think it's out of the box enough. Yeah, they've been doing the thing, and this is not quite the thing. Like it's not quite the formula, but I think it has enough elements of the formula to connect it, but it's ready to break it a bit. So yeah, I'm very hopeful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think also the fact that this director did WandaVision, and I really enjoyed
Well, that
WandaVision.
was a brilliant show. Like, if for those who haven't watched, guys, every episode also changed. Like, it was a changed styles. Like, every episode was like a different era of TV, and it works. And
Hmm.
not everything you didn't love everything quite the same, but the fact but it actually all worked and told a very brilliant story and was gorgeous. Yeah, so yeah.
And personally, I also love any TV show that can make a reference to Theseus's ship, like analogy, which I think they made in the last episode of that of WandaVision. But yeah, I mean, I think exactly what you said. It feels like a reimagining, but not too much a reimagining in the like, hey, we're gonna do this right, and whatever right is. I don't
Yeah,
know, but it's like that's the feel, and maybe it's as you said, like the theme of this teaser clearly is this family, and it's every aspect of it is like even almost pulling in, hey, one of the things that we as comic book fans kind of feel is like we may have been weirdo outcasts who were really enjoyed our our comics or our Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, but it's like we were our own group, we were a family to each other, even though we didn't know each other, which also, given the Fantastic Four, like they're a family by fate at some level. I mean, by design at some part, and then fate at another.
teams in general are families, but I think the distinction to make here is the triumvirate that I would that I would distinguish is the Avengers are a bunch of individual, very strong people that decide to come together.
Hmm.
X-Men are they're the outcasts. They're the ones that are like, "You hate us, you ridicule us." They are the gays, the trans, the all of those people
Hmm. Hmm.
in the world.
But they also come together as a family, right?
Oh,
Under
yeah,
Xavier.
they're all that's what I'm saying. They're all these are families, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the Fantastic Four are purely family, which is why I'm saying, like, there's like we already like cast to each other. We have to deal with it. We have these really unique circumstances.
Hmm. Hmm.
We are a family, and that's what we have to navigate. Which I think that's the difference, right? Like, because everyone can identify with, okay, oh, we're strong people when we come together and we gather. Oh, we're a chosen family because which is X-Men, like because we've been outcast and we have different shared experiences. Fantastic Four are family because they fucking have to be. Like they already dealt like they are they're already stuck to each other and they have this situation and they just have to deal with it and they have to go and they make the most of it. And to be honest, they make the most of it probably the most publicly like of all of them. See it in the trailer, like they're doing a press review, right? Like they're choosing to make their life public.
Yeah, yeah, and not in a Tony Stark kind of way,
Yeah,
but in
there's
a
a different
more.
aspect there too, where they're choosing some of this, and that is on them, or on some of
Well,
them.
also, I mean, their origin is they're astronauts, and at some level, and the astronaut aspect is this like heroes of their countries, right? Like, you're going into space. It's like, oh, back, especially in the 1960s, they would like watch launches and things. Okay, so the time honored question of our podcast: are you going to see this in the theaters? Are you going to stream it? Are you going to watch it if nothing else is on? Or are you going to hard pass? I'm pretty sure neither one of us are in the hard pass or if nothing else is on.
No, very, very fair question. I would say because in general, almost anything, like we said at the very beginning, that's in this genre, I'm gonna see no matter what. But it is more about like how do I see it?
Yeah.
I would say this one I will see in the theater.
Mm.
I want to see in the theater mostly because I think it's an opportunity for reinvigorating and shaking up what this honestly beautiful thing that I have loved of Marvel's moment. Because I remember when they were almost bankrupt and I was
Mm.
crying.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I will definitely support this and be in the theater.
Opening weekend?
Yeah, I probably will. I probably will. But and that but and that and that's not like if this was an X-Men movie. But I will because I'm excited by it. I like it. I don't want to wait. I'm not going to wait for this one. I want to know what it is soon.
Yeah, and I think bucking my normal trend of like I'll stream it, even though this is a Fantastic Four, which I agree with you. It's like
And I've
the
never seen
the
any
past.
other Fantastic Four movies in the theater, I should say
No,
that.
me neither. Me same here. I mean,
Yeah,
I
all
saw
the
I
other
saw
ones are all at home.
yeah, 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 and I mean I saw the last Hulk standalone in theaters, and I mean, I think it's there's certain ones because they haven't done well for so long that you're like, I'll just wait. But I feel like this teaser pulls me in. This teaser is like, this is actually a good movie. It's not just a like, hey, we're building this up for you to come see three other movies.
I think it's gonna be a good movie. I think it's gonna be a good movie.
So yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna see this in theaters and potentially opening night if I can pull it off.
Sweet. All right, well,
Um,
maybe we'll go together.
yeah, yeah. Dress up.
And then afterwards, I'll show your daughter,
Your dog.
no, 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 I was gonna say I was gonna say, Return to Oz, but
Oh, let's give her nightmares. Oh, why is that woman taking her head off? So we have our usual poll for those who log in on Spotify, and we're also going to leave you with a question. So if you have Spotify, you want to answer this in the comments. The question we're leaving you with is, which previous Fantastic Four movie is the worst?
oh,
Yes, because I mean it's fascinating because I think movies are the sum of all the different parts, from the casting to the writing to the directing to how it's done to the concept. And I just think, as we said at the beginning, they haven't gotten it. And I think we're both hopeful that they will get it this time, um, because Adam is crossing his fingers right now. Uh, uh, that yeah, I mean, I think this teaser is a great first step because it does, like, you watch the other Fantastic Four teasers, they don't pull you in like this. They're not the je ne sais quoi, uh, you know, aspect that I think every teaser is looking for. And for this genre and this thing, I think they nailed it pretty strong. And then you have subtle things that, like, uh, potential pregnancies.
well, I'm a standby. I think Franklin Richards. Let's see.
I like it. I like it. I'm on board. Adam, thank you for joining us. It
My
has been a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you for having me. And
And also,
sorry, Angel, that we didn't get to hang.
he's here in spirit. He's here in spirit. Just also as a reminder, anybody listening, if you look at the description of this episode, it will have links to every TV or movie that Adam and I have randomly mentioned over the course of the episode,
That sounds like a work, Evan. Good luck.
along with director's cuts notes of all the things that I messed up on that we need to note correction. So thank you for listening, and also love to know if you guys are seeing this in theaters opening night, like us two, which I'm sure Angel is too. We'll see, but knowing him, bye bye.
Bye, guys.